how can I get them to share some sort of information with me that says that they not only they want me, but they have to have me, that the solutions we can provide for them are definitely what they're looking for. And so how can I also craft questions that gets them to admit the pain they're moving away from and the life improvement they're moving towards?
Good. Give me an example of one of those questions. I want
Sure.
to hear that.
That's great. Okay, so let's talk about like pain-based questions, right? So it would be so talk to me about, let's say in my case we're selling training services, right? So it's talk to me about how many salespeople do you currently have, and talk to me about the revenue difference between your top producers and your average producer, and then talk to me about what are some things that your top producers are saying, doing, and thinking about that your average producer is not saying and doing and thinking about, and if you could get your average producer to think, speak, and act like your top producer, then do you believe that you would be selling more? And then of course they say, yes, I think so. And then we would put some numbers around that. So what would be the financial gap difference? So if the top producer is doing $1 million and an average producer is doing 500,000, so we're looking at a $500,000 difference. So it's asking questions like that to get them to admit the true problem they're really having, and what's the financial what is it worth to them from a money perspective.
Good. Well, it's making me think, because in your scenario here, it's as if somebody has called in and they want to talk to you. And so I think it's interesting to have the conversation on the great questions to ask somebody. One is, if somebody's called you, they've walked up to you, they've come into your retail store, how do you have really good questions for them? Versus the sales professionals out there who are in a call center calling out. They're doing outbound calls, or they're knocking on doors, or they're in a retail location approaching people for a specific product, maybe not necessarily they're working for a sponsor within that store. And that's different because those people have not opted in to speak with us yet. And I think something that's really interesting in those scenarios is, I think that our buyers a lot of times are practicing saying no to us. I mean, I can even think sometimes, right, that we're in the car and we're going somewhere and I'm like, all right, Jason, we're going to the car lot. Like, don't buy the car today. Like, let's just wait. We want to practice the no. And so if you're in a situation where you're door knocking or outbound calling or you're the approacher, that you look at, how can I put questions together that their no that they've been practicing is a yes for us. And so how can I say that? And so if I go up and say things like, for instance, would you be opposed to me showing you how to do blank or giving you blank? Where the no, they say, no, I'm not opposed to that. And now it's a yes. Their no is now a yes. And I love that for those two different scenarios.
I agree. And we could spend an entire episode obviously on creating no-based questions and all the different questions really around that. So I think that's phenomenal. I also think that kind of going down that path of questions that are easy for them to answer. And so if we kind of combine some of these concepts together, so we stay back into that pain concept, and we combine that with a question that's easy for them to answer. So it's asking them like multiple choice style questions. So it's so if we could solve or if you could solve the problem of X, would it mean this or this for you? Or if you could solve the problem of X, or you could stop doing Y, then do you believe that would earn blank for you or blank more for you? So it's staying in that same vein of, we need to get them to admit the problem they're currently having. But a lot of times people don't really know, they don't really know the if we were to solve that problem for, what does it really mean to them? They haven't really thought through that. And so giving them those choices, I think, helps as well.
Okay, I like it. I want to fill in the blanks because sometimes it takes me a minute to get there. So I want to try one out. So if I'm selling a home, I would say, okay, so would this home or this community, if you were to live here, would this make you feel, would this give you back more time in your life because of our location to all of these things that you love? Or would you be more excited that it would give you peace of mind of having a community that supports you, that has good school systems, something like that? So I'm looking at like I'm filling in the blanks of which one is going to be more impactful for you as well, but doing it a multiple choice question. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So let's kind of go down that same world, right? So or that same path. So if you're selling let's say a home improvement remodeling type project, and you're someone wants to remodel their kitchen, then you would say, so there's several problems that people have when it comes to wanting to remodel their kitchen. So are you wanting to fix the problem of not having enough cabinet space? Or are you wanting to fix the problem of not having enough countertop space? Or are you just wanting to fix like the overall flow of the kitchen, like it's not really flowing well for you?
Or have you noticed how ugly your kitchen is and you want to fix that?
Or that as well.
Okay.
Or is it more of a design or style type
That's
thing?
a nicer way to say it.
Exactly. So that would be an example of instead of me just saying, so what's the biggest problem you're trying to fix with your kitchen? Like that's a hard question for a person to answer if they haven't really been thinking about it very long. And so instead, I want to create really what I would call this as an educational based binding question. So I'm educating them on here are some of the reasons why a person would want to solve this problem, and I'm giving them several choices in order to do that.